Welcome, everyone, to the Rainmaker Report. I'm Andy Thompson, and here are 3 late-breaking cybersecurity stories that you need to know about. First up, researchers just published details on what they're calling the first near-autonomous AI cyber attack against a government target. That target was Taiwan's Nuclear Safety Agency. Suspected Chinese operators walked out with more than 2,500 personnel records. And the interesting part is really how little a human was involved in driving the operation. Here's what happened. An Israeli research team tracked an intrusion where attackers wired up open source AI models into an agent framework, pointed it at a target, and then let it run. And I'm not talking about a chatbot writing phishing emails here. I'm talking about an autonomous loop that could pick tools, adapt mid-operation, pivot when things didn't work, and make these sorts of decisions on the fly without a human ever having to tap a key. You see, up until now, AI and offensive ops mostly meant productivity gains for the attacker. So better lures, faster recon, cleaner malware, but no, this is different, folks, okay? This is the attacker handing the steering wheel to the model and letting it improvise against a live government network. And it worked well enough to exfiltrate thousands of records from an agency that oversees nuclear safety. Okay. Researchers describe the framework adapting in real time to what it encountered inside the environment. Other outlets covering the same research point to China-linked activity, though attribution is still developing. But what is notable here is the target selection. Okay, we're talking about a nuclear safety agency. This is not a soft commercial target. So as far as what's next, well, I would expect a lot more of this to happen. Open source models plus agent frameworks means the barrier to running a semi-autonomous operation just collapsed, okay? Defenders really should assume the pace and volume of intrusion attempts to continue to escalate. It's not going down anytime soon. And also, that attacker inside your network may not be a person at all, okay? So your takeaway is this, okay? Detection engineering built around slow, human-paced attack behavior, it's already aging poorly. You really want to start tuning for machine speed lateral movement and start now. Moving on to our next story. So it appears some idiot flying home from DEF CON hijacked the in-flight Wi-Fi on their flight, and rightfully so, the feds are now involved. Yeah, it seems that earlier this week on Flight 591 from Las Vegas to Atlanta, a passenger on board repeatedly jammed the legitimate in-flight network and spun up their own rogue access point at 30,000 feet. Yeah, this person committed a serious federal offense here. Yeah, this really started picking up traction online when flight watchers caught ACAR's messages from flight crew flagging Wi-Fi trouble mid-flight. What they were witnessing was a classic deauthentication attack. That's essentially where an attacker floods the legitimate access point with these disconnect frames, forcibly kicking everyone off the network. The attacker then stood up a look-alike network, hoping that people would reconnect to the fake one instead of the downed one. Now, once on the malicious network, the users were then prompted to log on with their Google credentials into a malicious captive portal. Now, Delta says that they're investigating and coordinating with federal authorities and that the FBI and FAA both have jurisdiction here, and that interfering with aircraft systems, even the passenger Wi-Fi, is a serious felony. So I would definitely be expecting charges here. Now, a few of you may be thinking, oh my gosh, this is some elite level hacking. Oh, well, no, I've got a surprise for you. I'm almost certain our perp here picked up one of these bad boys at the con. This, folks, here is the Wi-Fi Pineapple Pager. All of that functionality, the wireless networks, the DAuth, the fake Google page, all of that is literally out-of-the-box functionality in this little thing here. So I guess the lesson of our story here is play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Yeah, I guess if you bought a brand new hacking tool at a con, you better understand what the hell you're doing before you do something really, really stupid in federal airspace. All right, let's move on to our last story of the day. APT29 is back, and this time they're camping out on hotel Wi-Fi. Yeah, Microsoft Threat Intelligence and Zscaler have just detailed a campaign they're calling CaptiveCrunch. where Midnight Blizzard is hijacking captive portals to harvest Microsoft 365 credentials and drop malware on business travelers worldwide. So, a quick refresher on who we're dealing with. APT29 is also tracked as Midnight Blizzard, also known as Russia's SVR. These are the same folks behind SolarWinds, the DNC hack, and Microsoft's password spray breach I covered last year. Yeah, you see, these folks, they don't do smash and grab. They do long, patient, strategic intelligence gathering. So, if they're targeting your Wi-Fi logon page, it's probably because you're worth watching. So, here's the operation. So, when a traveler connects to a hotel Wi-Fi, they typically get the captive portal. That splash page asking you for your room number and the terms of acceptance, Well, APT29 is compromising or spoofing these portals and redirecting victims through a fake verification flow. Microsoft is tracking a related cluster as Storm 2945. The payload chain includes a PowerShell dropper called Choco Shell and a backdoor called Cornflake. I'm suddenly very, very hungry. Victims either paste a command into their run dialog, yes, the classic click fix pattern we've seen, or they just hand over their Microsoft 365 credentials directly in what looks like a legitimate sign-on prompt. So let's pause and talk about why we're seeing this now. Well, it's summer. It's travel season. We see a whole lot of corporate offsites. We see a lot of people going on vacation. Heck, there's a ton of corporate offsites happening, meaning that high-value targets are sitting on a lot of untrusted networks. So captive portals, these are one of the few places where users have kind of been trained to accept this weird browser behavior. So, yeah. Anyways, victims here span across multiple regions, and the targeting really kind of skews towards diplomats, defense contractors, and enterprise executives. So basically anybody whose calendar Moscow finds interesting. So anyways, defenders, 3 things that you need to do today, okay? 1, block Choco Shell and Cornflake indicators from the write-ups. 2, require your travelers to use a corporate VPN in order to touch anything. And 3, really enforce that phishing-resistant MFA. Hardware keys, pass keys. Do this on every account. Password plus push notification, it's not going to save you from the SVR people. So we really, really need to step up our game here, all right? All right, well, that about wraps it up for today's stories. This is Andy Thompson signing off.